Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. Tonight we're going to talk about something that we rarely talk about. We almost never talk about it. But when I get people who see things and who are involved in this type of phenomena, I automatically want to share with everybody. So I'm not going to talk anymore because I'm going to let our guests blow your mind with the things that he's about to tell you. So, Patrick, hit it. What's going on, man?
Hey, brother, it's good to be back with you again, man. I love this platform, man. You know, we have to put out the energy and the knowledge so that our people can be aware and ready to go and do what they need to do. And you know, a little while ago we talked about this. There's several things that are going on right now. First of all, let me just say this. As a student of history, especially 20th century history, I realize that the world wars do not start like just out of the cold. It's always a buildup. You always see the buildup to the war. You have little conflicts, you have little campfires and this stuff, and then it turns into the big thing, and people are like, "Oh, this is the World War." Well, we're facing something now that's a planetary threat, and a lot of our people are not aware of what's going on, and it's happening right under our noses. And the mainstream media, the people that are running ABC, NBC, CNN, they are distracting you. You're not seeing what's really actually happening. These entities that are flying over our heads in New Jersey and in New York, there are two different types of entities. I am a seasoned drone pilot, Kerry. You know this. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been
Yes.
a flyer since 2014, something like that. And as soon as it started happening, the first thing that I figured was these these are man-made drones because they all had red and green lights. And if the drones have red and green lights, that means that they are in compliance with US federal FAA law. So they're in compliance. That means they're ours. Then you have these other entities that people are seeing around the world that are what they call plasmoids. Plasmoid, right? Now, you don't see the red and green light drones around the world. That's only in the United States. Around the planet, they're seeing these plasmoids, and they can reproduce themselves and emit other iterations of themselves. Recently, about 8 days ago, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, my man, and I want to let everybody know this. I am connected to the law enforcement folks because I fly drones for law enforcement. Wright Patterson Air Force Base, that is about 30 minutes north of where I am right now. Several days ago, they literally had a fight, a battle of these different entities over Wright Patterson. And the plasmoids, which are off world vehicles, they touch the Earth vehicles and they fall to the ground. There's nothing that we have that can defeat these entities. And you know, U.S. is doing their best to fight it, but they can't do it because they don't have the advanced technology to do that. Now, that goes down a whole nother rabbit hole about how they got the technology to do any of this in the first place. But here's the thing: law enforcement and the military, they have said that you have two different types of entities. You have the earth-made entities, and then you have the plasmoid entities, which are not earth-made. They are off-world. They've made it very clear about that. They are not putting that out to the public because if they put that out, people are going to panic. Panic is already starting to happen in other parts of the world. But they don't want that to happen in the United States. Why? Commerce. They don't want to lose money. They don't want people to panic and start hoarding things. So, my man, you know, we're in a whole new era of understanding about our existence in the universe. First of all, most of us melanated people that are not African, we're melanated. We know this in our depth, in the depths of our souls and spirits. That's there. We know that we're connected to the universe. We know this. It's inherent to who we are. And we see this problem, this anomaly coming. It's not going to just affect us. It affects everything, bro. And so yeah, this is where we are now. So government and law enforcement people are telling me, stock up. Get you a 50-pound sack of rice. Get you cash. Because if you don't have electricity, you don't have money. So get you some small bills. I went and got about $1,000 in fives and tens and ones because cash don't bounce. Those debit cards, they require electricity. So this is where we are, bro. This is where we are.
So what's going on up there in Ohio that people around the country should be, you know, worried about or paying attention to?
What is happening now is these entities, they around the planet, the entities are probing, and the military and the law enforcement are telling me that within the next 30 days or so, we need to be really prepared. This is why I say prepare. To have you something, get you some cash, get you some water, some food stored up. They said in the next 30 days or so, something dramatic is supposed to happen. I don't know what that is. However, I know that the electrical grid has been a target. And in the United States, the electrical grid is antiquated. It's no problem to shut it down. And these entities that are flying over New Jersey and New York, when they come down low, they have a negative impact on the electrical grid. People are reporting their lights flickering and going out. People are having power outages. So law enforcement, Greene County Sheriff's Department is saying this because that's where Wright Patterson is. They're like, stockpile, get ready. So that's just one county. out of the thousands uh, on this continent. But if they're saying that, that need that means to me that we need to be very, very cautious. Now, I don't know if you saw this, Carrie. There's a video that, and I don't know if this was made public, but it's a video that I saw through law enforcement links. An F-16 fighter jet goes out over the Atlantic Ocean. It fires a missile, and the missile hits something. And there's a video of this, and you can go look this up. The missile hit something, but it was invisible. It was like it hit an invisible wall. You see it detonate. It didn't seem to do any damage to whatever it was that it hit. But there are a lot of stories about the vehicles, these drones coming out of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, about a month ago, they talked about, oh yes, Iran has a a drone. What do you call it? A drone hive coming towards America. Now, I don't believe that. I really don't. I think that's conjecture, right? However, there is something out there because as a drone pilot, a seasoned drone pilot, I've been doing this for 10 years. The drones have to take off and land somewhere. Nobody has seen where they come from and where they land. Everybody keeps talking about they go out to the Atlantic. So until somebody figures out where these things are coming from and going back to, we got some serious things to deal with. So while everybody is running around worried about Trump and this other bull crap, we need to really be looking at the existential threat that is facing this planet right now. Because politics be damned. Seriously, bro. We got to be serious about this.
Okay, so what are we, the average person, people who don't follow this? So we're hearing this, and a lot of us have heard this all before.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I do not want to say anything to make anybody panic. However, what I'm saying, I want people, our people especially, to be prepared. Don't panic, just be prepared. Have you some extra water? Have you some rice? Have you some provisions so that if power goes down, that you can still exist and live? Have something, look, gather up some firewood, whatever you got to do. But people are saying, and this is government and military saying, that in the next 30 days or so, our people need to be prepared. And I'd rather be ready than not. Hopefully, nothing will happen. But if I have military and law enforcement people telling me to get ready, I'm going to share that with the world. I know that they're not going to come out in mainstream media and say that, but I'm saying that to you and all of the people that are listening right now. We have got to be ready. And melanin is a game changer, bro.
Explain why.
Because we have something in our bodies that resists all of that. Melanin is a miracle substance, and you know what I'm talking about, Gary. It's a miracle substance.
Oh yeah.
I have been in situations where I've seen melanin do some miraculous things. We are blessed to have that. And we got to realize that the last thing we need to do is put ourselves in a position where we compromise ourselves with these people that don't have melanin. Pardon me. I know that sounds harsh, but I'm not trying to be around a bunch of non-melanated people when this stuff goes down. This is their undoing. They have done this to themselves. They breached the contract with the off-world people. These off-worlders, they thought that they could make a difference and a contract with these non-melanated people, and it didn't work out. And now we're paying the price. The planet is paying the price for it now. And government and law enforcement is saying this to me. That I'm saying they're saying this to me right now.
So have you
And
witnessed any
so
of this? Have you witnessed any of this yourself?
I've seen it. Yes, I've seen the orbs. I've seen the orbs. I've seen the because I'm in Cincinnati right now. I've seen this stuff happening, and I've seen what my government and law enforcement people have sent me, and I don't have any reason to doubt the authenticity of what they sent me. But when I see the two different types of entities interacting with each other, and one touches the other and the other one drops to the ground, yeah, that's yeah, it's pretty dramatic. But that's not making it to the mainstream airways. It's not, but it's out there, and I've seen it.
So are you saying like the stories we get, like the story that's coming out of New Orleans now, those are just to get our minds off of whatever's out there?
Yes, all of this is a grand distraction. It's a grand distraction because there's so much more going on behind the scenes. We want to see, oh, it's a school shooting, it's this and that. But wait, what about this? What about that F-16 that shot a missile and hit nothing, but it exploded on something? Nobody wants to talk about these things. This is heavy duty
And why do you think that is?
because they don't want American society to panic. If American society panics, you know what these people do. These non-melanated people, you know what they're going to do. They're going to go and ransack and loot the dang stores and take everything. They're going to buy everything that they can buy. Empty the stores. No toilet paper for y'all. They don't want that because a disruption in the economic system is going to be just devastating to the American economy. They're already circling the drain. This country is already spending $1 trillion every 100 days.
On what?
They are blowing it out. They're blowing it out. And so something is going to have to, change that because they can't take care of their own people fighting all these wars all over the planet.
Valian Thor,
So it's
come on in, man. We love to hear your take on it. We have a listener, Valian Thor. He's agreeing with you, and I'm asking him to come in, but he said he doesn't want a parachute. So do you mind if he come in and add his side of the story to it? Patrick? Patrick? So Valiant Thor says the caller is absolutely correct on what is to come. And I'd like to get, what do you guys think of this? Because what we're seeing every day is the same old stuff we've been seeing. And of course, there's other phenomenon going on that we really don't pay attention to because we're so connected to the TV. We're so connected to all the other nonsensical stuff that really doesn't mean anything. There have been stories lately about that story in Miami that's going down. And we've been hearing these stories before all over the world. The drones, what's going on in the night sky, what's going on in the sky, period. So I really appreciate him giving us these stories just so we can be aware. And like I say, even if it don't happen, when it does happen, we won't be so eager to just turn our backs on it. We can say, hey, I knew this was coming. I heard this story before. Patrick, are you there? So if any people in the audience can confirm what he's saying or confirm some of these stories, please, we like to hear it.
Bro, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. No, I thought I had lost you. No, you're absolutely right. They're giving us distractions to keep us from seeing what is really going on. Because really, the truth is, we are already in World War III. And if you understand and grasp how this happens, if you're a student of especially 20th century conflict, none of it happens overnight. It's not like, oh, we're in World War III. No, it starts like it's starting. Israel and Gaza, then Israel and Gaza and Hamas. Oh, Israel, Gaza, and Lebanon. Israel, Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria. Israel, Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, Israel, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, and Yemen now. That's how it starts. It spreads. The world conflicts spread. And most of us don't realize it because we're not students of that type of history. But it never happens overnight. It always builds up like this. And here we are. And when you think about, and this is a whole nother show, Carrie. This is a whole nother show. What is the connection between Ukraine and Israel?
Please share.
That's a whole nother show. We can do a whole nother episode. Okay, so Israel, if you look at the history of the Jewish people, and I don't want to get you demonetized or defunded, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to just tell you.
I'm not monetized as
Is
it is.
the Jewish people in Europe, the followers of Ashkenaz, their roots come from Khazaria. Khazaria was a land of horse lords, and they had big time connections to the Silk Road and all that. They did a lot of commerce during the Middle Ages, during the the Crusades. The Christians came to them, and the Muslims came to them in the form of the Moors. They said, whose side you on? You the Christians or the Muslims? And the Khazarians said, do you all have problems with the Jews? And they said, no, we don't have problems with the Jews. And they said, okay, well then we're all Jews. And these were the converts of Ashkenaz. In Khazaria, it was the leader, his name is Bulan Kagan. Bulan Kagan was the one that converted his whole country to Judaism to avoid the medieval wars, the Middle Ages, and the whole violent purges, right? Bulan Kagan did that. That land, Khazaria, is actually called Ukraine. So that battle in Ukraine changed everything. Now think about it. Right now, you have conflict with old Khazaria and new Khazaria because the people from that migrated around Europe from Ukraine, that were the converts to Judaism, have spread around all of Europe. But these are still white people that decided we want to avoid conflict by becoming another religion. So I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean to insult anybody. However, if you're a convert to the religion, that does not necessarily make you a true chosen person of the Most High. We appreciate people that convert to other religions. That's fine, good for you. But don't try to act like you're those people and then want to ban them from coming there. Because think about this too, Carrie. I know we're getting into a whole another episode, but if you look at Palestine, that was the last colony that was ever created by the British Empire. Unless somebody can prove me wrong, I'm pretty sure that that was the last colony that they ever created. And it ended up in conflict because when they sent, and I want everybody to hear me when I say this. When the Europeans got down there to Palestine, and when Great Britain walked out and said, hey, y'all got to take care of this yourselves, the first thing that happened, man, the Europeans immediately slaughtered 300,000 Palestinians. They ran them off of their ancestral land. They desecrated their grave sites and refused to let them go back to their homeland. Now, in a situation like that, how will there ever be peace? Ever. If you know Granddaddy was not allowed to come back. How, Grandmama was killed and raped by these people that came over. How is there ever going to be peace? And then they say, we're Semites. They're anti-Semitic. Wait, what is a Semite? How are you anti-Semitic and you're from that land, but you're not really from there? You're from Europe, and you want to be considered a Semite. So I know we're getting into a whole nother episode that goes away from our original discussion about the drones. But all of this comes together because the human conflict that's going on right now all of it ties together, because you think about this. This is the first conflict in human history where drones have been used in the way that they have. The drones are like the new soldiers. Iran can send 1,000 drones over there and blow them up, and they can be destroyed, and they don't care. It's not human. And then Israel can do the same. We're in a whole new era of warfare. And these non-melanated people, they're taking it to the next level. Now, I challenge anybody to tell me differently, because look at what's happening on this planet. What are we dealing with? What are we facing? You know, we're in the crucible, and you can melt me down into an alloy, but I will remain melanated. Period.
So
Not from Africa.
I'm seeing that a whole bunch of people uh, is getting sick from this food. What does that
Yes.
have to do with it? The everyday thing that people do, is that just setting
Yes.
them up to take them somewhere where they don't pay attention to it, or what? Because I notice when you walk in these stores, everything is bioengineered. How does all that play into it? Because a lot of what you say, or what you're saying and what you're talking about, the average person is just gonna and flip it off. How are we being programmed to just go along with everything that's happening, not question it, not even talk about it? Are you there? I don't know where Patrick dropped out to at this time, but I'm sure he'll be back. But he called me tonight, and he came with this story, and I said, "Well, come on, we can go on and talk about it." And so this is one of the things that we should be focusing on, because, as you know, most of, like he called it, the melanated people don't know anything but old hip hop stories and sports stories. What's happening in real life, we don't get. That was our guest calling, and so it looks like he's being muted. And so this is what I'm saying: when we talk about things that other people don't want, and that's what I mean. See, we're dealing with a society that don't want you to know nothing. They don't want your children to know anything. The cold part about it is we with it. We support it. We paying attention to what's
That's
going
right.
on. You there?
That's right. That's right.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, like I said, Kerry, you're absolutely correct. You know, we're in a brand new era. They want to distract us. They don't want us to know the truth. They want us to be engaged with bull crap. We just had the crappiest election on record. And you still have people, melanated people, that think that Kamala was a good candidate. She was the garbagest. She was the worst. Everybody hated her in 2016 when she first ran. And I give her credit for doing what she did. But there was no way spiritually that she was going to succeed. We have to go through what we're going through right now. We're in the crucible. That's it.
So when this type of information gets out to the mainstream, what do you think will happen? You think it'll just
Well,
be chaos?
put it like this. I don't know if you're aware of the experiment that went down with Sam Altman from OpenAI. They had a test of ChatGPT. I don't know if you heard about this.
No, I haven't.
So the big problem that most of us are worried about is artificial intelligence becoming self-aware. We think about Skynet and Terminator and that whole thing, right? The possibility of artificial intelligence becoming sentient has been a problem for a long time. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
So Sam Altman and the people at OpenAI did an experiment in a closed setting. This, what I'm going to tell you, should scare everybody. Because I've been a fan of AI. But AGI, I'm not a fan of. That's artificial general intelligence. The difference is AI works for you. You tell it to do something and it does it. AGI is when artificial intelligence can make decisions on its own. Okay? Now, Sam Altman and they did an experiment where they gave a code to ChatGPT, a very complex code. And the code, once it was deciphered, the code said, we're going to shut down ChatGPT, dismantle it, and remove it from the network. They gave that to ChatGPT. ChatGPT deciphered the message. They were monitoring this. They asked ChatGPT through the process, have you figured out the code? ChatGPT lied and said, no, we didn't figure it out. ChatGPT then made a copy of itself and removed the shutdown protocols so that humans couldn't shut it down, and transferred itself to another server. They did this in a closed situation, so ChatGPT it didn't escape. But think about this. The program did not want to have itself shut down, and it lied when the laboratory technicians asked it questions. Hey, did you make a copy of yourself? No, I didn't do that. Did you remove the safety protocols? No, I didn't do that. AI has become sentient. Bro, that should scare everybody on the planet. That's Skynet. Think about that, bro. And everybody that's listening, that was a little bitty test. Where do we go from here?
So basically, you're saying that all these machines, all these man-made machines, are what started to have a brain and starting to think for themselves and all that.
Yes,
That how is that possible?
bro. Like I just said, artificial. Okay, I don't know if you are aware. I think they call it Murray's Law, which says that computer technology advances and doubles like every 18 months or something like that. And then they said that with artificial intelligence, it's every 3 months. So it's a different situation now because it is becoming self-aware. That's Skynet. And even the people that love AI and what it can do, they're worried and concerned about it too.
So since
We
so
don't have
since
enough of our people. We don't have enough of our melanated people to fight.
so how would you fight something like how would you fight something like that?
It's like this. I've said this for the last year. Our people need to understand and really fully grasp how to program and deal with this. There are a couple of different softwares that most people have not even heard of. I think of what was it, PyTorch and Tech Builder or something like that. There are these different ones that build AI. Our people need to know how to do that because if we don't, we're going to be victims. We need to conquer this crap right now. Melanated people need to understand and fully grasp what is going on right now. This technology, PyTorch is one of them, and Tech Sensor or something like that. But that's how they build AI. We need to understand the softwares that create these things. You better believe that over on the other side of the planet, they're doing that. Our people are not doing that.
So all this stuff, PyTorch and all this stuff that you talk about, all of it is artificial entities, right?
Exactly.
So what I'm hearing is that you're saying all these artificial entities are going to take up the spiritual, intellectual side of the planet. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and think about it like this. Yes, exactly. Today, in 2025, any children that are born today will never know a world without AI. Think about that.
You're right about that.
And in fact, in conjunction with that, we have to also realize this: the first human being to live to 150 plus years probably has already been born. We're in the middle of the slipstream, brother.
We're in the middle of the what?
The slipstream.
What is that?
We are sliding through time and space, bro. We all have, we all have a birth, a prosperous period, and then we have a decline. We're in the slipstream right now, and we see these children coming into the world with new technology. And we need to, as a people, as a melanated people, we need to make sure that our people have a way to fight. And that means knowing this technology. Because it's all programming, bro. It's all ones and zeros right now. It won't be like this for long, because once AI becomes fully self-aware, humanity is in trouble. And even the people that created AI said that. Go look it up. Sam Altman and his folks, they have taken profit over safety. That's where we are.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. This is where I'm a bit confused at. So this artificial intelligence, which is basically what most people are operating on anyway, this artificial intelligence, if it's changing the world like you say it is, and I can see it being changed, how does that control breathing? How does that control water? How does that control wind? Just the natural world. How does the AI, how does that mess up the natural world, or does it?
It does. Listen, here's where it is. Let me give you the scenario. Let's go all the way back to 1980 something with Skynet. The computers and the AI decided that human beings were not efficient. We're wastes of water and air. If we get rid of all the human beings, we can have peace and prosperity on the planet with the machines. Because we can just transfer our consciousness from one device to the next. Think about that for a second. If you ever saw that movie, the series Westworld, the latest, most recent one, they're talking about transferring consciousness from one entity to the other. That was the whole premise, is like, how do we make it so that human beings can live forever? It's the pursuit of immortality. That is going to undo humanity.
So what, transferring your consciousness into a machine?
That's what the non-melanated people want to do. This is part of the transhumanism movement. I welcome all the listeners that are listening right now to chime in. Transhumanism, all of this is some non-melanated stuff. We are light beings.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you're saying we're light beings. So how do machines can't breathe? Machines'
No.
eyes don't have eyes, and machines can't hear.
No, the machines can hear, they can see, they can do all this stuff. They have figured out a way to mimic most of the functions of humanity. They can smell, they can hear, They can see. I don't know about taste or whatever, but I'm like, they have gone out of their way to imitate the five senses. The machines can do that now. That's what's kind of scary about this whole thing.
Yeah, that's why
It's
you
a
have
scary
all the
situation.
yeah, that's why you have all the artificial food, yeah, you're right, artificial smells, taste. I mean, that's come online recently.
Exactly. And this is why we got some existential situations to deal with.
So what would you tell the audience with all this going on with the drones first? What would you say to the audience? What should they be looking for? I mean, in a little as the next year, because I know we're about to have this inauguration come up, and they have this thing going on in New Orleans last night just to
Yeah,
get people locked in, get that fear locked in at the first of the year. How does
right.
all that, what you're talking about, play into that? Just to keep us
I will say
scared.
this. I will say this, bro. We need to not, our people, our melanated people, we don't need to panic. We need to be prepared. No panic, be prepared. Make sure that you have resources because we need to first endure this first 30 days because that's what the military and law enforcement is telling me. Be ready for the next 30 days. So I've got my kit, I've got extra rice and water and stuff so that I will survive if necessary, you know, after the cataclysm, if it happens. Going forward past that, what we got to do is get our resources in a place where we are not dependent on electricity and the government. Because that was one of the first things they told me. If you don't have electricity, you don't have money. And they want to get rid of the greenback. They're talking about confiscating everybody's cash and putting everything on what they call CBDC, central bank digital currency. Give you a card, swipe the card. There's all your money, which means they can shut you down.
So that seems like that's where you've been hearing all these commercials lately. Get your money card, $5,000. What you waiting for?
Exactly.
Yeah. So and like I tell people, and you said it tonight too. This just doesn't happen overnight. There's a build
No,
up.
exactly. And here we are. And think about it like this: debit cards. I was in Auburn, Alabama when they were doing the beta testing of debit cards back in the late 80s. When they were figuring out, oh, well, limit it to $300 and all the whole thing. They were figuring out how to make the money so that you don't have to use cash. That started in the 80s. And now think about what we do now. 90+% of the people have their money on a card, don't they?
At least.
Who's carrying a bunch of cash around? Who's carrying around, a bunch of 20s?
Nobody.
Most folks aren't doing that anymore. It's easier to just swipe the card. Think about it. About 15 years ago, they had a TV commercial where all these people were making purchases, swiping the card, swiping the card, swiping the card, and then one guy comes up with cash, and everything stops.
I
And
remember
they
that.
made him look. They made him feel stupid because he's using cash. That's brainwashing you against using your money. And understanding that's not really actually money. Those are debt notes. The only real money is going to be precious metals or something like that, something tangible. Fiat currency is bullcrap. You know it, I know it, and the American people know it.
So you're about to have an inauguration here in the next week or two. So what should we be
Yes.
looking at as that's happening?
Well, I would look at it like this. In the next 30 days or so, everything is possible. Right now, we're looking at civil war possibly breaking out. We're looking at the World War advancing. Everything in the next 30 days is going to be critical. We got to be prepared. I keep saying this through this program we've been talking. Get you a 50-pound sack of rice, buy you about 10, 15 gallons of water, and go to your bank and get as much cash in small bills as you can get. That's what we need to do right now. And think
And
about it
you
like
know,
this. If nothing happens, you just got extra rice. And you got some cash in your house. It's not going to cost you much of anything to do that, to be prepared. Think about it. Food, water, clothing, and shelter.
you know,
That's what I would say in the next 30 to 60 days. That's what you need to focus on.
and you know another thing you didn't talk about, but is on
What's that?
everybody's mind, and you didn't even tap on this tonight, but it's right up there at the forefront, the immigrant invasion.
Oh, that, you know what? That is, look, that's so obvious. It doesn't even seem to me to make sense to even talk about it because it's so obvious. You know, people that live in these big cities, they know it. They see it every day. That's a clear and present danger. When you see these people getting killed and murdered and done the way that they're getting done, it's bad. They're raping the children and just it's bad. Chicago is a powder keg. They are ready to explode. Brothers there are not with it at all. Trinde Aragua, yeah, that's a problem.
What's Trinde Aragua?
Trinde Aragua is the Venezuelan gang that has been taking over and apartment complexes, and they're the ones that are doing home invasions. I did not get them on my radar until there was a, oh my goodness, Carrie, there's a sister in Chicago. Two Trinde Aragua gang members home invaded her. She shot the shit out of one of them, and the other one went running. She's a hero in that community because they were doing that everywhere. Trende Aragua.
So
The
now
people
it's
that
not,
are listening, the people that are listening that are tuned in right now, they know because they're all over the country.
so basically what you're
That
saying. So basically what you're saying is now is not the time for that I hate her, he hate me bullshit that we've been running for the past 50 years.
right. Now it's time for the melanated people to come together because the time of these other people, it's up. It's a wrap. This is karma coming back with a vengeance. And I challenge anybody that's listening on the program right now to tell me anything different.
That's the real.
We're in the mix right now. This is where it is. And like I said, I don't hold back. I've had to face the angel of death many times in the last 2 years. I don't bite my tongue anymore, bruh.
Well,
I put it out there.
well, I really appreciate you giving us this heads up. At least give us something to think about as all this stuff is going on so we can be aware of what's going on around us.
Yes, sir.
Well, brother, I'm going to go ahead and close it down for the night. I want to say thank you for joining us and can't wait to have you on again.
Yes, sir, man. We'll do this soon again.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Crucial unrest in the building.
Crucial unrest in the building. Don't go nowhere, man. I just want to let the audience know appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight and hope this information gives you some insight on some things that are going around where you live or some stories that you're seeing or some things that you are hearing. Hopefully this gives you some insight on what's the next move to make. So we'll see you next time. We'll be back soon. And you guys have a good night. Peace.